Our next speaker is here to talk to you on how to build prosperity. How many of you out there are interested in that? Me too. So without further ado, please help me welcome our next speaker, Diann Anderson.
Big first step. This could be a big first step too. Diann Anderson, I'm a financial consultant. I do a lot of workshops educating people. I think in prosperity, it's not just about money. There's lots of ways that each individual that wants to prosper in any aspect of our lives. What I'm going to talk about is specifically working toward riches, in a sense. A couple of books that are in the front are some of my favorites. Really, it's just educating ourselves and it's feeling good about ourselves. That's why we come to these types of things. One, to get balanced, to feel better about ourselves, to take care of things, issues that we've had in this lifetime, other lifetimes, working with chakras, that type of thing. I was on Deepak Chopra's website recently, and I thought, oh, there's a little blurb that he had recited from a previous master. And I thought, yeah, I like it, but I don't think I'll use it. Well, last night I went to an Archangel Michael channeling. And it was funny because it was repeated over and over. And it was basically, we're not here to be as good as possible, but we're here to be as real as possible. And I think that's a lot of what we look for within ourselves. The balancing, just like the previous speaker, it's fixing the body, the mind, and the soul. Basically, unblocking, we'll find what works for us. There are various types of ways that we look at, whether it's senses, it's working with the chakras, working with the colors. The first chakra, which is the root, the tailbone, the red color, there are certain senses with that. There are certain stones, ruby, garnet, those types of things, that a lot of us will wear red if we're wanting to build that chakra. And what is that? That's basically the most distinctive chakra that we have. It's about feeling grounded and feeling comfortable, protected. It's about shelter, these kinds of things. So a lot of us will wear a particular scent, colors again, and then the various types of stones. The second chakra is the pelvis. Has to do with sexuality, but it's not by any means limited to that. You're basically drawing things toward you, feeling life, the fullness of life, awakening the emotional life. The color, of course, is orange, the garnet, amber, these types of stones. And that's all in the book that I like, that I work with as well. Now, the third chakra is the solar plex, as most of us know, maybe all of us know. And that's the drive of power. And I'm only going to talk about the fourth chakra to the heart. The third chakra is defining your boundaries, saying yes and saying no, and learning to say no. Most of us here in this country, we have a hard time saying no. There's nothing wrong with saying thanks but no thanks. And we just, for whatever reason, have a hard time with that. And that's really building that chakra. Well, the third chakra, of course, is the yellow. We'll wear yellow, we'll wear these other types of things that will help build that chakra. The fourth chakra, of course, is the heart, quest of love. And it's the path of the heart. Trusting that if you live the life from the place of consciousness, all will work out into the material world that we're wanting to create for ourselves. And a lot of what I believe in and what I work toward is specifically balancing and creating a life that we feel comfortable with, that we enjoy. And I think that's how we build prosperity in whatever direction you're wanting to go into. The one book that's up in the front, Dave Ramsey, I like his talk show. He's on a talk show AM 570 in the afternoons. And he has really good sound advice to give to people. I'm in the industry, but that doesn't mean I don't listen to people in the industry, other ways to help people. And one of the things that he says in his book, it says, good people have a spiritual duty to possess riches for the good of mankind. How true is that? When we think about, oh, I want to win the lottery, I want to win the lottery. And what are you going to do with it? Well, one of the things that is in the list of things that we'll do helping people. We want to help people. That's just human nature for the most part. I don't know if anybody saw the latest Nobel Prize winner that was from Bangladesh. And it was just basically microcredit. What they did is they're wanting to eliminate poverty. And one of the things that they did is there's a particular village that they concentrated on. He had gone in, this lady was weaving a basket or something like that. And he was talking to her, how do you make your money? And she says, well, in our money, it's about 9 cents. She says, I borrow 9 cents from a middleman, and then I have to pay him back 2 cents, and the rest is for her. So he wanted to help eliminate the middleman, and that's exactly what they did. Their average loan in the bank that he worked at in helping to eliminate poverty was $200. You know, what is that? That's a lot of money to a lot of people, not in that country, but in this country as well. Basically what they have done is they've had $5.72 billion that they had lent out to about 6 million Bangladesh people, and that's helping 17 million people. And what is that? They're creating prosperity for themselves. The more good that we do, and it's not necessarily good or being real about yourself, but it's finding that place for yourself to be able to draw the riches in. Riches of any form, not just money, but money, we have to have that to survive. But 97% are women that they helped in Bangladesh. And I think that's a lot of case for a lot of situations, even in this country. In the USA Today magazine, there was an article about Panda Express. Anybody seen the new restaurants? It's a fast food Chinese restaurant. Well, they did an interview with these people, and they were talking about how they prospered with opening up unbelievable amount of fast food establishments. And one of the things that they did in their home office is feng shui, to create what they're wanting to prosper from. And this is the way they have started to open up these particular fast food restaurants is phenomenal. It has never been known in this country. Not only that, but Chinese food. It just, as so many other companies have tried to open the Chinese fast food restaurant, and it wasn't working. Well, I think feng shui has a lot to do with it. I personally. Not only that, but they practice lots of other types of things. Deepak Chopra is one of their favorite, that type of thing. So to create the life that you're wanting is starting from home in your own life with your body, balancing your body the way you need to with this last speaker, or working with the chakras, the senses, the colors, all these kinds of things. Definitely help. And basically, what do we look for? We look to appreciate money, we look to respect money. We have to do that. Lots of people have actually came into this life, but they think they come into this life valuing for poverty. Well, you know, we need to survive, and that goes back to good people have a responsibility, a spiritual responsibility, so that we can share with other people. One of the things that I do, of course, is I try to empower people, not just women, primarily women, one, because I'm a woman, and I can relate to women, and I have sensitivity there, and that goes back to my home life, my mother, these types of things. So, but I definitely educate people. We have to empower ourselves, and one of the little blurbs that I've gotten as well is personal improvement leads to personal growth, and that's growth of the pocketbook as well. So, what we deal with today, 1 in 2 marriages end in divorce. The average widowhood for a female is 56 years old. And then women live 7 years longer than men. So there's a lot of aspects that we take a look at, and I take a look at somebody's life. You know what you want to do today, you know what you want to do tomorrow, whereas I look at the whole gamut. You know, a lot of people tell me, I'm dying in my 50s, I'm dying in my 60s. Okay, you may think you are, that might not be your sole mission. If it is, great. If not, you need to learn and you need to put money aside. And basically, the reason I have these particular books up here is education. You know, we try to empower ourselves, and basically, it's taken a class. I mean, this is very minimum of what you could possibly do for yourself, but you can learn from here. Somebody will take something out of this. I think we can learn from anywhere and anybody. There's always a little bit of something that can empower ourselves. And then learn one thing every day about finances. If you read the Wall Street Journal, just the front page period, that's it. Every day for 3 months, you would know 90% of the average American. 90%, that's just the front page. Why is that? If you've ever seen the Wall Street Journal, there are little bits and pieces of articles of what this country, all over the world, even. I think God may have even invented Google. You know, we got Google. We Google anything and everything, and it just comes up, all this information that we can just gather. And establishing what's important to you is extremely, extremely important. You have to get your values, what's important to you, and what's important about each of the aspects of your life to open yourself up. And why is that important? To prosper, to help ourselves, to help other people. Lots of people are afraid of money. They want the money, but they're actually afraid to bring the money in. They're afraid that they're not going to know how to handle it. They're afraid that they're not worthy of it. So what are they doing at that point? They're creating these blocks. To eliminate the blocks, that's why we come to places like this. That's why we go to whoever is going to help guide us or help us balance or find what's particularly important to us. I'll go to certain people, but I don't necessarily want to know what's going to happen tomorrow. I want to know what is it that I need to find out for myself to keep myself balanced. I have the same challenges as most people. I have to drive on these highways. You know, I work with the public. I love working with the public and educating them. I think that's one thing that's extremely important to me. It's very tough for a lot of people to find what it is that they love and be able to do it every day. Just to appreciate what we have on a daily basis is extremely difficult for a lot of people. Mistakes that we make in our lives when it comes to our financial aspect of the life and that little particular part of prosperity, it's just being lazy. It's not looking at our investments. It's not looking at it. I meet with lots and lots of people that get their statements in and they don't even open up the statements. You have to at least open up the statements. The biggest problem I felt during 2001 was people were not properly allocated. Sounds like it's pretty simple. In essence, it is. Most people, you know, the tech world, they did extremely well, and that's what they worked in, that's what they liked, that's where they stayed. And when you hear where it says, don't get out of the market, it's going to come back, it's going to come back. But they're not saying stay exactly where you're at. They're saying, now let's stay in the market to reallocate. That's your opportunity to reallocate. The economy is the strongest it's been in a very, very long time. The unemployment rate is down to 6%. The Dow has jumped up past 12,000 this last week a couple of times. The economy is very strong. It's not reported that way for the most part to the media and the things that we'll read or watch television, but it's by far what they're saying. The industry's changing. The entire industry. The job market has changed. It's not like it used to be. We have to take on that responsibility ourselves because guess what's being eliminated? Pensions. Those that have gotten a pension or is able to get a pension, well, they're excellent position, but that's almost obsolete at this point. Now, the time frames that you take a look at when you're looking to save money for particular reasons, whether it's less than 2 years, you want to take a look at the money market, you want to look at CDs. The time frame has to do with what you're trying to achieve in your life today. 2 years, I'm going to open up a business. Within 2 years, I'm going to buy a house. These types of things. You don't need that money to be at risk. So you look at CDs, you look at the money market. If you're looking at 2 to 5 years, then you're going to look at bonds, T-bills, and bond funds. But what are you going to achieve during that time? Is that your vacation? You know, it's not always about working. It's about having fun. You know, what are we looking to do? Our vacations, these types of things. 3 to 10 years, you want to look at stock funds, balanced funds, these types of things. Why? Because it's long-term. Much, much longer. Now, a lot of people think they're going to retire. They'll retire in 10 years, 20 years. And I'm going to need my money that day. Well, guess what? You're not going to need all that money the day that you retire and it's sitting at your door. You're going to take a look at what it is that you could do for yourself through your retirement. Growing the money, continue to growing. How do you do that? You go to workshops, you get on the internet, you open up your statements, you take a look at those. Building prosperity, again, I mean, you came in, there's no magic wand, there really isn't. You know, we do the best that we can, we apply ourselves little by little by little, and guess what, it adds up. Everything adds up. As long as you're moving in that direction. What I find, a lot of people, my sister sent me a joke, and it said, this lady was praying to God every day to win the lottery. Maybe some of you have seen this joke. Please God, let me win the lottery, let me win the lottery, day after week after month. And God finally talked to her, could you help us out and buy a lottery ticket? You know, it's moving forward. You know, I've got friends that are psychics that do readings, and we talk a lot. And I said, you know what I find is that a lot of people will go for the readings. They want to know, am I going to get this job? Am I going to meet this man, this woman, this new house, whatever the case is? And they'll say, yes, you're going to meet this person. This is going to happen to you. Then they go home and they sit down and sleep. It's not going to drop out of the ceiling, out of the sky. It's not. You have to keep moving. If you continue doing what you're doing, it will happen. It will happen exactly the way they're reading to you, most likely. I'm not saying it's not the way. But what happens is people get stagnant. They'll go through this, you know, I do want to prosper, I do want to win the lottery, but there are certain things that you have to do, whether it's just buying a ticket or continue to learn about your finances and finding out what it is that you can do for yourself to empower yourself. One of the things, of course, is learning about your debt. Americans love debt. You know, what is it that we learn first thing? We learn, oh, we got to establish our credit. I did that with my 18-year-old daughter just recently. She said, Mom, I got this credit card. And I thought, okay, yeah, you need to establish your credit. And then after she did, I thought, gosh, what am I doing? That's not what I wanted to tell her, but we are programmed this way. There's, in this particular book, Dave Ramsey, he had a little article in there, or a little story about, there was a toy company that was offering a shopping spree. There's a credit card. Little kids are knowing how to swipe. Well, the public was up in arms about it, because that's kind of what we do. We don't like something, hopefully we're verbal about it. And so what they did is they took it off the market, then they offered something that has to do with the register. Not a shopping spree, but now it's about a register. These are toddlers, mind you. So programming these toddlers at a very, very young age, they're hooked. They just have it in their brain that that's one of the things that they're going to have to do, and that's how they live, is by swiping. Now, one of the things that, along those lines, is when he's trying to eliminate people's debt and getting rid of these types of things, the worst person that he had run across is the person that got a credit card while they were in college. He said it was like pulling teeth. They didn't want to give it up. Why? It's my first credit card. You know, I got it when I was in college, and that was a fun time for me. Once they got rid of it, then they were fine. They were able to move on. But with debt that we create for ourselves, it creates blocks. It creates a crutch, and that's not what we want. We don't come to people for direction and a little bit of guidance to depend on them on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis. We want to get some information and move forward, and that's exactly what we look to do. And hopefully with these books that are up front, that would help you. And I definitely recommend the Total Money Makeover. It's in big print, so it's not a lot of reading. There's a lot of stories. We typically will associate our lives to other people's lives if there's a story that's told. And there's lots of stories in that. That's one of the things that we have to do for ourselves, and we really need to teach our children as well. Because on a daily basis almost, what do we think about? I gotta pay this bill, I owe this person, I gotta pay this bill. We think about it all the time, it's so draining on our bodies. So if you go to these people across the way here and find these ways that you need to do, we'll keep moving in that direction. And if you're wanting to prosper in any aspect of your life, it's moving that energy. It's just very, very simple. It's just continue to move in that energy. And once you start lightening your load when it has to do with our finances, you'll feel empowered. You'll get excited. But a lot of times we won't make any changes until we get very, very mad and angry. And then we say, okay, forget it. I'm tired of the debt. I'm tired of living like this. I want to change my life. And then typically that's when we do it. But we have to get very mad and angry or read something that moves us or that will empower us. So what I've done, again, is brought this here. This is not a magical fix here that you guys came to, unfortunately. Maybe when you walk out the door, there's a little fairy there that will give you some fairy dust or these types of things. But I like helping people. And it's just as simple as that. It's, get your information that you need across the way. Read a book, at least 2 books a year, and get some of that information and move forward. One of the workshops, again, that I'm doing on those postcards that some of you have gotten, it's working with your energy. Cynthia is going to work specifically, how do you unblock? What is preventing you from doing this? Whether it's in this lifetime, whether it's a past lifetime, whether it's just something we like to create as we're going along. A lot of times when we, as I've read, we made a vow for poverty in a past life, we carry it to other lives. So in this lifetime, we don't need that stuff. Well, we need to get rid of it. And the way you get rid of it is you keep moving. You get mad, you get determined to go past whatever the blocks are. There's a lot of ways you work through those blocks. Like I said, on the different chakras, the different colors, the senses, there's lots and lots of ways. But that's one of the things that she'll teach. And then I learned to keep the energy flowing is what I try to teach people. It's just some knowledge. Don't be afraid of money. Don't be afraid to move forward. Those types of things. My time is pretty much up. I saw my 5-minute hand, but I want to spend just a moment on the books as well. So I'm going to go down. What I did is on the postcards, someone will have at the very top of the postcard on the white side, because I did put there, good people have a spiritual responsibility. And at the very top, somebody has one that says kindness. Oh, that's you. That's the chakra healing. I like that because what it does is it goes through the colors, the chakra specifically, and it goes into the stones, what senses go along with that as well. And then someone else has one that says joy. Oh, look at there. Well, before I go over that, I might be running a little bit short. I'll take that.
I already have that book.
Do you have that
one?
one?
I think it's fabulous. I'd like somebody else to have it that doesn't have it.
Okay.
But I wouldn't mind having the other one here.
Well, then that's what we'll do. If who has music? You have music. Okay, see, that might be a conflict. Because I have Smart Women Finish Rich. This is one of the workshops that I do, and it's based off this book. And it gives you some very, very good... Yes. Okay. That's a good one. Well, this will give you some excellent tools to work with. But if you're not interested in that workshop, you can pass that postcard along. Somebody else might be interested in it. I think information, it's shameful to keep it into yourself, so we have a responsibility to share that information as well. And that's a lot of what I do. Most of the workshops that I give myself are free workshops, and I think they're very valuable, very important. But on the postcards that you have here, we're having it at another facility and to absorb some of the costs, that type of thing. It's a couple of hours. But read it, enjoy your stay here, and thank you so much for attending.